signed up. July.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mansfield Buzz. Hey everybody, welcome you to the Mansfield Buzz. It is Thursday, it's 2 p.m. We're live every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here live on YouTube. If you happen to be checking us out on YouTube today, please use the comment button. Ask us some questions if you don't mind, and we're gonna talk to our guest today. Lena will be with her in a few minutes, but just let you guys know, my other host up here is Jordan. I am traveling today. I am down in at a cookie convention with Yvonne. It's a week-long thing down in Round Rock, Texas, and also visiting family. So Jordan have already pre-discussed that I'm on a guest Wi-Fi. I'm running this through my VPN server, so there's a strong possibility that Jordan and Lena might be the only two on this show by the end of it. But we already have 10 questions set up for. If you guys would like to be a part of the Mansfield Buzz, let me share this right here real quick. There is my email address. There's my business email address. If you want to be a guest on our show, all you have to do is email me at hurdy@hurdyburke.com, and we'll give you the information you need. And also, just to let you know, this is our YouTube channel, youtube.com/mansfieldtx.buzz. Please subscribe. Please click that little notification bell and go check out some of our broadcasts to local businesses in Mansfield and the surrounding area because they are important and we want to support them. So welcome, Lena.
Thank you.
MLK PreArrangements. And Jordan, I got some more good news.
Ooh, what is it?
So really quickly, we are now officially booked through October the 14th. Every week till November 14th is booked.
Nice.
And we're still averaging in that 35 to 45 range of hours per watch time per 28 days. We're still around 2,300, 2,700,000 views in those 30 days. And so we're doing really good. And we're close to 70 subscribers. And by the way, we're letting the people that are guests market the show. So it makes it really cool that it's a two-way street. Right, they get to share the links and everything. So we want to welcome Lena to the show with MLK PreArrangements. She is going to preach at us, she said, Jordan, today. she's gonna go for it. So everybody, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. Jordan.
All right, let's take it on. Hi, Lena. Thank you for coming to the show.
Yes, you're welcome. I am loving this. This is going to be great.
No, it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
We're going to talk about so many things that I think many people are not, if not aware, not currently taking care of it. And
Exactly.
it's something that, nobody plans to die, but it happens and we are all going to die. I mean, of that we are all certain, right?
So you're saying the death rate's 100%?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say so. That is great. So, here we have your website for whenever anybody wants to reach out to you, MLKPreArrangements.com.
Yes.
And so kick things off. It's an interesting field that you decided to go into.
Yes.
So give us a little bit of an introduction of what is MLK PreArrangements and what do you do and why it's important. And let me give you the limelight.
I'm giving you the floor. Yeah.
Nice.
So thank you guys for having me on, first of all. MLK PreArrangements. First of all, MLK, those are my initials. Maybelle Lena Killion. Also, Dr. Martin Luther King. And so it just fits and feels good. And prearrangements are prearranging for the end of life. Pretty much it's pre-arrangements for end of life, what you want to happen. I went into this because there are so many people that are ignorant of death and what goes into it. And ignorant in this case, in many cases, it's not a bad word. It's just fact. We don't all know. And before my grandmother passed away, I hadn't even thought about this. So grandma pretty much put this gift in my lap. And I consider it a gift because I'm able to help people pass away the way that they want to. And she was able to do that. That is one of the most wonderful people in my life. As a little girl growing up, we were so happy. We love our parents, most of us, but when we're going to grandma's house for months because the summer is over, who doesn't go and, have the best time for 3 whole months with grandma? So that was my life as a little girl up until, I graduated high school and went to college and went back to grandma, So our family is very tight knit. And when grandma passed, it was we just couldn't believe it because nobody thinks grandma goes anywhere, kind of with, the actors and actresses that we all love and adore, and then they pass away and it's just a shock because we're not expecting it. Grandma passed away and she had life insurance, which I want everybody to have life insurance. If you have it, don't get rid of it and don't let it lapse, please. But grandma had that extra part called the pre-need insurance. And that takes care of your funeral. And so that means no one else is having to take that burden on when they're grieving. So I think she did it beautifully. It was bittersweet, but not everybody had to find a space for grandma to be buried in. They didn't have to ask those questions. What does mom? What does dad? What does anybody want? Because she already had it spelled out in the clothing and the shoes and the roses, the red and white. Don't bring any carnations in here. So grandma did it beautifully. And I want that for my children. And I want to offer that to families that don't know that it exists. So what I do is I come into your life because you've asked me to be there, or I'm educating you on what needs to happen in the end. And I sit there and I explain, what are you actually looking for? Do you want a cremation or do you want a burial? You need to know what goes into each one of those. Most people now, because of our finances and because of the way of the world, are going with cremation. I am there to tell you, I don't judge. I just tell you what you need for each one. And because of me and what I do, I'm able to go to many different funeral homes and offer you their packages or their deals. And you tell me what you want to pay. It's about your budget. I am not under one umbrella with one funeral home to where I can't send you anywhere. I can send you wherever you want to be within the state of Texas. So that is my blessing to others. And I've seen a need for it. And so that's what MLK PreArrangements does.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's one of those things that we don't really don't think about. And I think that's wonderful, especially coming from your grandma and somebody, we all have a special relationship with our grandmas because, to be honest, they're always the favorite, right? Like our parents tell us stuff, grandma lets us get away with everything.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I'm her namesake. So I'm named after her. I'm the oldest grandchild, the most spoiled. Like there's nobody that was as spoiled as I was. And then we both have Maybelle. I was named after her. So hello.
Yeah.
So exactly. Just the best relationship, the most wonderful person in our lives. So
and it seems like that generation of folks, Lena, have been disciplined to be more prepared.
Yes.
Than the generations we have running right now. You know, that my grandparents were very similar. They had all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed. They had their wills. They had, everything was in order.
Very smart. Very smart.
It seems like today's generations just get too distracted, instant gratification.
Right. And I think, that instant gratification is the biggest part of that. For me, as a young woman that didn't grow up with a lot, you want to always dote on your children. When you have children, and my oldest is the most spoiled 30-year-old still to this day. And my 16-year-old
you need
is
another
spoiled. And you're like, how about me? But no, and then my 12-year-old, they're all spoiled. And that's because of a lot of our upbringing, and I just wanted to give them everything. But I think after the first one, I recognized with the other ones that I want to be able to give you those things, but I need you to earn them. You know, I'm always going to want to find a way to give you what you want, but I want you to earn that. And so I see a lot of younger grandmas, younger parents, period. And I will say that that's extra added stress of youth and not having your life and your ducks in a row, you know, with finances and all that kind of stuff. It wears on so many people. And I just want people to understand that it's so affordable, Jordan. It's so affordable. There's no down payment. I don't need a down payment. There's so many options, you know, just instead of buying those shoes or those bags or those things that are very unnecessary, take charge of your life, get this taken care of, and then do all of the extra. I think age is changing. My grandma was not a very young grandmother, you know, like they had their things in order.
Yeah.
And I think the times have definitely changed when it's about people and priorities right now. So it's sad to say and sad to see, but I'm here to educate. At least you know what your options are.
Cool.
Absolutely. And so you touched up a little bit on your why, you know, with the story of your grandma.
Yeah.
I'd like to dive a little bit deeper too, mainly because I find it interesting that you actually had a positive example.
Yes.
To shape this, right? Which is not usually it's like this traumatic experience. You're like, oh, never again. I'm on a mission to abolish this.
Well, I am on a mission to abolish it. I've seen it in those funeral homes. So thank you for saying that was a good example. But I think what changed things for me, and which is a big part of my why, is that I was a party to working in the funeral homes. And the ones that are pricey. And when I say pricey, not everyone can afford the services that were being rendered there. And, you know, before any service takes place, you must pay in full. If you are with a smart group of people that know about money management, they want you to pay before they go to work. So that's where I was. And I was there seeing people at the time of need. So there are two times of need for the funeral services, the funeral life. There's before, which is where I do the pre-needs. And then it's at need. So that's the time a death has occurred. And at that time, you see people scrambling. People are out of their minds, not knowing where to go. And I have seen that in that room. So they would come into me. I was a family services director. They'd come into me, and I am a sales background. That's my background. But it's totally different when I'm sitting with the family and seeing those tears and feeling those feelings, because I am a human being that cares. It's not just about me selling you something. So I was never the one like, let's tack on this, let's tack on that, because that's not my heart. That's not where I come at it from. And these people would come in the rooms, and I promise you, Hurdy and Jordan, they would have literal fights where we would have to have some funeral director come and, you know, separate these people from each other. They'd leave, they'd come back in. It's a lot of drama that you don't expect to see, because most of us don't work in this industry, right?
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I remember distinctly this one gentleman coming in and saying, my mom, before she passed away, made me the executor. So she wanted me to sign over all of these spaces to my sister. He could not sign those spaces to his sister because the other brother and sister wouldn't sign off on it. So unless they get along, they hated him because of his relationship with his mother. But he was doing what he thought a son should do. Be there, watch out for mom. These other ones lived in other states and didn't have that. They didn't care, pretty much, you know, and that's just how life is sometimes. But he put his all into mom until her final days, and she made him the executor, and they hated him for that. And so they won't sign off on the 4 spaces. So during my time there, the daughter that they were supposed to sign the spaces over to, her husband passed away. Okay. They couldn't use one of the spaces to bury him. So they had to buy a separate space for him because none of the brothers and sisters would sign the documents.
Wow.
So I've seen lots of things like that. It breaks my heart because mom or dad didn't get to say deep enough, you know, like she had made him the executor, but you still have those other kids out there that might not want to sign because of some difference. And that's where the different functionalities to my job come into play to tell you might need a trust. Sometimes you don't need a trust, depending upon having brothers or sisters or certain family members, So that was that negativity. There were families that would come in, and our mission statement, let's help them all. But we couldn't help them all. And so I started seeing within myself the anger that was building up, because my hands are tied. I can't send you anywhere unless I lose my job here at this moment, because you can only stay within our umbrella. So I said, how can I help these people? And that's how all of this happened. I had no idea that I needed to be insured before I can actually get on my mission. Someone had to trust in me before I could start MLK. And luckily that happened. And here I am. So that's part of the why. But the other part of the why is I felt in my community, there was a need. There was a real need to have people focus for a little bit. Mm-hmm. This is what our family wants. This is the money that we may get, these different stipends and things yearly. Let's focus there. This money on shoes and bags, as I've said before, just on some type of car that you might not be able to pay the car note on. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Make better choices, take care of family first, and then do whatever you want to do. I mean, I had to learn that. And I am 51 years old and got a pretty good head on my shoulders, because God has given me grace over grace over grace. So my education, and this is not what I went to school for. I did not go to school to be, a person that dealt with funerals, but it's just a passion of mine. And it's funny, I'm just talking most times to people and they're like, gosh, we can tell that you really love what you do, because we can feel that. But I think that my children's father passed away, like I was telling you guys, almost 2 years ago. In October, it will be 2 years that he passed. We had no idea that he was sick. We had no idea, none of this. So there wasn't a will. And that side of the family is, they're very wealthy, but you still have to do, everything goes into probate for the children. We have to do an heirship to make sure, there's no extra children. So there's this whole process that, this stuff lives in my mind, and how I can better myself as a mom to make sure my children don't have these problems, to make sure my mom doesn't have these problems. My dad, they're going to be traumatized when their best girl in the world passes. So I don't want to leave them, hurting and not knowing what I wanted. And that's a big question that would come up in the rooms. What does mom want? And they would actually look at each other and say, what does she want? Or what does dad want? So this is a big reason. These are the reasons why I decided to do what I'm doing. And then lastly, my babies. I want them to see how they see me. They know me. I'm funny. I'm strong. I'm mentally strong. And I put so much effort into every aspect of what I do for them. And it's not just, tangible things. It's in the love that I give and the direction. And I see myself growing. And I mean, I'm 51, and I mean, we can still grow. We still have capacity to learn so many things. And I'm trying to just share that with my babies, and then to share that you can get out and build your own business. You don't have to work for people. You've got these children. I'm smart, but my children are so much smart. I mean, the little one builds PCs. He is the one that programmed my car. Like, gosh, they're amazing. He takes coding classes for fun. I would have no idea about that. And then the middle one is my football player that's just that smart and just witty, just amazing children. So I want to leave something for them. I want them to see that mommy cares and she's working her butt off, because I really do. I don't take time from them. If I can be at the football game, I'm not going to miss it. If I can be at any challenge, any chess match, whatever it is, that is why I'm here. This is a part of why MLK is here, and it's going to grow and it's going to continue to be successful. So that's my why.
That's a big why.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. I got a lot of whys in my why.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
That's so it's so important. For the people that have been through, death in the family, it is like you hit it spot on. Like you're going through that turmoil, which is, difficult emotionally, and then having to make decisions on top of that.
Yeah.
Even more difficulty. Now having to make decisions that everybody else is scrutinizing.
Wow. Yes.
Even more difficult.
Yeah.
And to think that you're going to be able to do that all on the fly is unrealistic.
Very.
And also it makes me think of, being from the giving end of those things. Like nobody plans to die. Most of us are in here for the long haul until it's our turn.
Right.
But we're not really anticipating that unless there's some sort of illness. For those that are not, particularly as our parents are aging, I don't know if they are conscious of the kind of burden they are potentially leaving behind.
They're not, and the thing is, if you've not been present in that situation, Jordan, if you've not seen someone pass and you've had hands on it, it's difficult. If you're out here just as a friend or, those types of people, then you know that someone has passed and their loved ones are hurting. But you don't know the money. You don't know the drama. You don't know if they know if she's going to be cremated or buried. What did she want? That type of thing. You don't know those. You don't know. And so I'm here to help as much as I possibly can. I feel me just getting enough people in a room sometimes, you have no idea how wonderful that feels. I will, our Mr. Johnny Castor. So sometimes I go to his meetings on Thursdays and he asked me to present. I presented and I had so many questions from that small group. 3 and 4 questions coming in from each person. Yeah. And it felt good to be able to answer them and to say, if you need anything else, then here I am for free. Some people want to charge for every single thing that there is, but I feel that this information is so important. I want to be helpful. And if you're not in it, you don't know. And so they just continue to live their lives. But once it hits home and you see how people are struggling to pull these finances together, you don't want to do that. You don't want to see it happen to you or to your loved ones. And then sometimes you run into the people that see it and they're in the heart of it, but they still just don't grasp the necessity of getting something set up. And life insurance is amazing. I really want people to know that life insurance is great, but that is for the living. It is not to be contributed to a funeral or to a cremation. It's for the living. So that is why pre-need insurance is important, because I want those children to have the life insurance to live the life that they want to live. But the death that pre-need insurance to say, mom says this, mom wants cremation, we're going to do cremation, this is what she wants, and then leave it at that and move forward in their lives. So I think there's a lot in it, and I'm here. I just want to get out there and talk to groups and have people have the conversation. I'm not jinxing you. This is just necessity.
Hey, that's right. We need to cancel this. She's talking to us. That's bad.
Yes, it's bad. It's so crazy. And I've got this smile on my face, which is even crazier.
I'm so kidding.
Yes.
So Jordan, that's going to lead us into what I really want to hear about. And that's your services.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask her last name. I was like, I know that's not my question. So
that's not that question.
No. Listen, I like what you told me in the last segment. And Jordan, give me 1 second here. I like that you basically use education as the way to inform people, tell your story, tell your why.
Right.
But then you can get into the part that you really, after you've done that and got them thinking about it, your services, right?
Right. And you guys are going to think I have a lot of services, but you have to understand every service that I have added or I have that I'm offering are because of things that I've seen a need for. So
perfect.
The biggest thing I feel is, of course, I do the prepaid funerals. That's where I want everyone to start. But the 3 main things that we need for, I would say, end of life preparation is you need a prepaid funeral. You need to figure out if you want cremation or burial. And then you need a space for all of that. If you want burial, you need to or have a space.
Yep.
And the reason I say go ahead and purchase a space in your pre-need, also a part of that is it locks in the pricing. If you purchase a pre-need, say for instance, for $8,000 and you're making payments for 3, 5, or 10 years on that, and whenever that individual passes, if say for instance, the casket has gone up about $4,000, because there's an increase every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that has gone up, they can't ask you for the difference. They have to give you exactly what you've placed on your pre-need, and they can't ask for anything. If your family chooses to add more flowers and things like that, then that comes out of pocket. But your price is locked in. It's also locked in on spaces. When my grandma bought her spaces, she bought 4. She bought one for her, for my grandfather, and for my 2 uncles, but not for the 4 girls. And I thought, like, Grandma, why wouldn't you buy for all of them? She goes, I think my girls are very smart, and my girls will buy the spaces themselves. So she bought for the boys. And I was like, you know what? You do have some amazing women, Grandma. And so they were all smart enough to buy them when they were like maybe $300 or $400 a space. And so they would always buy for their family members, buy for the boys, buy for the girls. And so my aunts followed suit to what she was doing. And I think if you can grasp that price at what it is now and just pay it off, that's the most wonderful gift that you can give to yourself and to your family, because they are not having to go back and buy a space at the pricing it is right now.
Yeah.
So I will say the last pricing when I was out at a cemetery was about $4,000 for a space. Now that might seem affordable, but you have to know where that space was located at that cemetery. Back by the fence where the dogs bark at you when you visit your family members. So I don't think I want to be barked at when I go to visit a family member. So that was the cheapest at that location. And then they just went on up from there. And I'm talking about $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Yes, they can be. If you want your family to be buried as a whole, all of you together, now like my grandma did, that's at least $120,000. And with the different headstones and things like that. So you have to take into account all that goes into a burial, or all that goes into a cremation. So another thing that I offer besides my pre-needs and locating spaces for families is that I do headstones and markers. The reason I chose to go into that as well is because at the funeral home, they are going to charge you double the price that you can get it from a vendor. Mm-hmm. So the beauty in that, an example, my cousin passed away in July of this past year of 2023. At the funeral home, his family was going to be out of $15,000 on a headstone. They wanted it to be red, not what you would think like a red car type red, but like just a beautiful India red is what they call it. You very seldom see it. And that's what they wanted, something to stand out. And that's his favorite color. So at the funeral home, it's $15,000. For me, I went to 3 different vendors. I got their pricing for exactly the same thing that she wanted. And I was able to get it to my family for $6,700.
Wow.
See what I mean? So, and the same thing in that instance is I let you choose. I got all of the information, had it placed into a spreadsheet, and put your pricing here with everything that you need for the cemetery. Because if you're a third party, which is me, coming into a cemetery, they want to charge all kinds of additional fees, and they want to say that's a bad thing to do when it's the most wonderful thing to do. All that company, that vendor needs to do is just come out and honor the warranty. If it's run over, they replace it, things like that. So it's a beautiful thing when I can get you the same beautiful stone in less than 9 months to a year. I got it in 3 weeks, placed on my cousin's space, produced I didn't even know it was on the space. It was so fast. I had no idea. My cousin's wife is sending me pictures like, you're amazing. Amazing for what? And then she sent a picture of, it's just a beautiful stone, exactly how she and I designed it. And, it was just about, she said, Lena, are you sure the pricing is right? It's 40% less than the middle one here. And I'm like, you circle the one that you want, and that is the one I guarantee that we will have placed on that space. Sure
That's
enough,
awesome.
$6,700, 3 weeks with the production and everything. They told me, Lena, we can do it. And that's a deal too. It doesn't have to be 9 months to a year. It can be 3 to 6 months. You know what I mean? Some of the people that I deal with already had the granite in stock. So you don't have to wait until it comes in from India or from Georgia or from wherever the query is. So I sent a spreadsheet. She circled what she wanted. We got to work. I just always need to confirm things. That's my biggest part of business. Confirming, making sure we're all on the same page, and then going to work. And I've been blessed to have friends and family that allow me to be trusted the extra. Let's see if she can do it. And so it's been a really good experience with that. That I can get you a stone for it. Some of us have family members that haven't had a headstone or a marker because they are sometimes just ridiculously
expensive.
Prices are ridiculous. So I can help you do that. I can help you say, we need to get Uncle Harry a plaque for, whatever we need for his space. I can do that. And I do all the research and share it with you, and you get to choose. It's about being able to choose. So that's a part of it. I am also a notary because I do the estate planning documents as well. And what goes into that is there are some family members that say we need a medical power of attorney. I am certified to do those. I'm certified to do advanced directives, advanced health directives. I'm certified. And the reason there was a process to get certified to offer all of these documents. Instead of having people always see an attorney, they can also do a one-stop shop with Lena, and we can get all those documents done for $249 rather than $300 to $600 per document. And they are certified and notarized, and we are good to go. And the reason I decided to offer all of that under my company is because I know I can do it. And if you're going to have to get it all done anyways, might as well just come to one person that will take care of all of that. Yeah. So those are my services. Recently, we've added pre-planning for pets as well, because a lot of people have fur babies and they want to put them away just like we would take care of our children or our family members. So I recently went out and interviewed a couple of companies for that. And it's a very interesting process. There's, of course, cremations, there's burials, they have little plaques, they have little spaces where it's like a small cemetery. It's a pet cemetery. So it was a very interesting field trip or tour, so to speak. And I just fell in love with the people that I would be working with, and the process is so easy for families. It's just great. So I decided if I'm going to do this, I'm going to add it all under one little umbrella and be able to help families. You need this, you need that, I've got it. And I do a very great job on each part that I offer. So those are all my services.
So in 1983, Lena, my dad passed away down here in Round Rock. And we went ahead and got his space, but he's in the military part, a real sophisticated high-end part of the cemetery. Right. And we went in and bought the space for Mom next to him.
Wow.
In 1983.
Wow.
She has had, because they're running out of space, they have called and said, this thing is worth blah, blah. I'm not going to tell you the amount.
It is.
And she said, no, I'm not selling it.
Because she wants to be there.
That's exactly right. But my point is that's how much it's gone up since 1983.
And
it's an incredible amount of money.
It is. It's crazy. And I want people so much. It's not just about me. If you don't want to work with me, take my education and run with it. Go talk to somebody else.
No, hire.
Right. I mean, and that's fine. But there are some, I would say, before going to that one funeral home that you've heard of in the grapevine, I had an individual that likes Sparkman Hillcrest. Sparkman Hillcrest is in Dallas, and they are an amazing, pretty penny. Amazing. That's where Mary Kay is interned.
I know exactly where it's at.
And it's a beautiful lot, and I will get you what you want, but I can't sell for them because they are under Dignity, that umbrella, and I won't touch that. So, but I did say, I'll send you their information. You can go out there and work with them. But why not use these wonderful funeral homes that have no tie to that for a nice, have a nice funeral, have a nice cremation, and then take yourself or have family members, take you to Sparkman and be buried in that cemetery. So you have all of these options, but the funeral home is not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
The funeral home is not going to give you that because they want you there to pay those Sparkman prices. They want you there to pay that cemetery price. Understandably so, it's a business, but that education part is not there. So I want to give my families what they want, but I want them to know you give me a budget and that's what we're going to work with. I'm not trying to price gouge anyone before or even at the time of service. I don't deal with people at the time anymore because that is heartbreaking. If they are not prepared, then there's the GoFundMe that you've seen. There are doing donations. There's the food. There's so much stuff going into trying to bury a loved one at that time of need. And there are no discounts. There are no pre-planning packages. There's nothing like that. You must pay before services are rendered. So that is why MLK offers what we offer.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And again, right, like we should be prepared for the unexpected because it's not like anybody's going to get a, 5-minute warning.
You're not going to get a warning. No, there's no warning. I mean, I've worked with people that were terminally ill and some wonderful ladies. And the sister she didn't want her husband to be the person that we talked to. So it was her and her sister that showed up. I was able to inform them of what we can do, that type of thing. And they left and they didn't come back for another 2 months. And then they came back and the one that was ill had a smile on her face. And she was like, we are ready to move forward. I want my sister to handle everything. That is the person I can trust. And that is a big part of why I offer those estate planning options there, is because if you don't trust your husband or your wife and you want to use a sister or a cousin or whomever it is, we put that all into words and into a working, and that person doesn't have any authority over anything. And that is so important for so many families. So I love it. I love it all. It's all great.
Agreed.
So let's dive in a little bit into that portion of it, pre-planning and just the certain advantages that I was going to give to, obviously the individuals and the families, and just kind of walk us a little bit through like those two, sides of the same coin.
Right. So the benefits of pre-planning, we'll start with individuals. There are a lot of people that are not married. There are a lot of people that don't have children and do have fur babies or don't. There's a lot of people that are just individuals saying, I want to come in and I want to go ahead and get this set up so nobody has to worry about it. I had a lady come in and she was all of that. And she wanted to make sure that her friend was the person that would take care of the things for her. She wanted a direct cremation, which is probably the cheapest service that is out there. Depending on where you go, can be cheaper and cheaper. It is definitely the cheapest. If you say, I don't want a memorial service, this or that or the other, then we write it up. You tell us the beneficiary and the person that is going to handle everything for you. And so she was able to do that as an individual. I want people to understand that you can go ahead and set that up and have someone to take care of it for you. Because if you do not, it turns to the state.
Yeah.
And the state gets to decide what happens to you.
Right.
And that nobody wants that. Like, nobody wants that. Even in our today in and out life, we don't want them to deal with. I don't want government or anyone dealing with anything for me if I can help it. But sometimes we can't. So, but anyways, that's a big deal with, I think, our individuals. When we're doing this for families, it's a lot to grasp, but it's so important. You are saving your family that extra stress because it's already going to be hard grieving for you and your loss. Yeah. So for me, the pre-planning is about saving as well. If you can lock in the pricing now, then those prices, whenever you pass away, the prices, they don't change. It is what it is. Like I said, every year there is an increase on the spaces on the materials to build a headstone and marker, there's an increase on the prepaid funerals. So I have to go into the funeral homes constantly and say, have your prices changed? Because every year I need to update my paperwork so I'm not offering bad pricing to my clients. So there's a 4 to 6% increase every single year, every year. And if you lock in the pricing, that doesn't apply to you. So that is the biggest benefit. The second biggest, once again, I would say that your family knows what you want. They know that you want cremation. They know that you want burial. And here's an example there. When my children's father did pass away, I have known him 30 years. We started dating at A&M. We started dating at 19 at A&M. And I knew that he always wanted to be cremated and his ashes spread at the ranch. His children knew he wanted to be cremated and his ashes spread. However, his mother did not choose to do that. And I, being the ex-wife, could not say anything about that. I couldn't say even this is what I didn't even bother because that's not my place. I didn't say, but the children, they know and they knew. And they were, everybody's just having a really tough time, because nobody expected dad's death. And so grandma was able to just bury him, but he's buried out in a place where people only go once a year. We go, or just to the ranch, the ranch is out in Sonora, Texas, which is outside of San Angelo. So it's not visited all the time. It's like just a fun family spot, for the holidays and things like that. But he's buried out there in San Angelo, and the children really don't get to visit that area. And to tell you the truth, in almost 2 years, they have not gone to visit that space. They believe father is with them and that type of thing, which I'm so glad that that's what they believe, because otherwise they'd feel bad that they're not going and visiting dad there. So this lets you and your family know this is what I want. And then those children get what they need, So that is the biggest part and one of the biggest benefits is that your family knows exactly what you want, and there are no questions about it. It's written and it's prepared and no one can go against it. So I think that's a big deal for families and for individuals. I think the pricing and knowing that they don't have to come out of pocket like that, it's so much more comfortable for the families. That is why I think pre-planning is a huge benefit to our families. The money, the knowing, so that you can rest at night. I have a lot of people still that are like, how do we know? How do we know? And that's not something I can answer. And that's kind of heartbreaking too, because I don't know. I don't even know your loved one. I just say, go with your gut, go with what you think mom or dad would have wanted. So, and that's very hard to answer for a lot of families.
So Lena, is pre-need, which is kind of the next question, the same as the prepaid? Can you describe, let's say somebody comes to you and says, I'm really interested in getting signed up with you on prepaid, right? Pre-need, to really discuss what we need.
Right.
Is that paperwork? Is that a down payment? Is that an actual, you don't have to divulge that if you don't want today here, because it may change, but if you want to, yes. I kind of like to know what prepaid means and how you go in and somebody says, I really want to do this. Right. What are the factors and what is that process? Literally?
So I want you guys to know that the wording, I think, confuses people, but it's going to be this way. I can't change it at all.
That's fine.
I know, but I want to say pre-need, but pre-need, prepaid, pre-arrangements, they're all the same.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Boom. So that's what I wanted to know right off the bat.
So sometimes in that room, we're talking about pre-arranging, because that's when you come in and make the arrangements, which is why I call my company MLK Pre-Arrangements. I help you get your ducks in a row. Pre-need is knowing what you need ahead of time, and let's go ahead and get that settled. Prepaid is that main part of the prepaid funerals. Okay, that's the main part of, let's prepay for your cremation. Let's prepay for your funeral, those types of things. So the pre-need process, the pre-arrangement, all that process is making sure that you have everything together. I come in and I sit with the family and I say, first off the bat, most times I'm saying, what's your budget? And if it's a husband and wife, it's a budget per person, right? And then most of them want to go with cremation. But then I've seen families that are like, I'm cremation, but he wants a burial. So you have to explain everything that goes into it. Say, for instance, a family has the husband wants to be buried. The wife wants to be cremated. And to make that more affordable, you can actually second right the wife's cremated remains, the cremains was what we call them, into the space with him. So that's an additional, it used to be $2,500. I'm not sure what it is now. They tack pricing onto everything. Mm-hmm. But you can do that, and you can just have one space that the family's paying for. He's buried there with the things that go with the burial, and then she is second righted her cremains into the same space. So okay. I can explain that as an option. It just depends on what they are wanting. If you're wanting a cremation, I explain everything that goes into that. I send you options, which one fits your budget. I know what we're looking at, but you get to choose which one we're going to go with. And the same for burial. Burial is it's a more intricate, I would say, process because you need, are you going to be at the funeral home? Are you going to have your service at the chapel? That's a big question. Some people are like, I don't have a funeral home. Well, then you can have your service at the funeral home's chapel if you don't have a church home. If you have a church, a lot of people like to have a service there and then go out to the graveside. There's such a process. It just depends on the individuals. So for me, I talk with them. I find out what they want. And most times I try to be in a home, a home setting with the individuals. If they don't want that, then we do a Zoom, or they can meet me at the funeral home that they've chosen, and we go through the process. It's really not as hard as it seems. I just need to know if you are being buried, do you want to have, do you want wooden or do you want a steel casket? In the state of Texas, you have to have an OBC, which is an outer burial container, because our ground shifts so much. If you notice, a lot of families and homes have problems with foundation. That is because of the grounds in Texas. So we do require an OBC at most of our funeral homes. If they don't, I'm not asking questions. I don't want to know. But most of the funeral homes require an OBC. Then there's the casket. Then there is the service that you want. Do you want to be at a church? Do you want to be at a chapel? Do you want food in the gathering after? Do you want it just a memorial? So there's all those questions that go into that process. But for me, it's pretty much just finding out what the spouses want for each other. It's not as hard as people think that it is. It's very much just a conversation. I get a quote for each family. That takes me probably 30 seconds. That's about your age. If you are ill or not ill, you have to understand that too. With life insurance, a lot of people, if you have illnesses or are sick, in some certain different ways, they won't write a policy for you. With pre-needs, we will do that. We can definitely do that for a lot of people. So I do have some wonderful friends that are in life insurance that will say, well, Lena can help you here. We will find out we still have underwriters, a different type of research that we're doing. But if you are ill, we will find that out because they do the research too. It doesn't disqualify you, but it makes sure that we're all on the same page with what you have and what you don't have.
So Lena, if somebody goes through that and they're in that pre-need and in the prepay thing, and you set them up, and is it a lump sum payment or do they make monthly? And what happens if they were to die before the term's up? Do they still get the benefit of the funeral home?
Very good questions. Good questions. So when I set up a family, we do the quote. You do not have to do a down payment. I recommend that you don't. I recommend that you just pay your first monthly payment, whether it be $145, $75. It's so affordable, and just pay your monthly. You get these options though. You can do single pay and just pay out $9,000 and you're done, right? You can do 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year. So if you are a healthy individual coming in and sitting with me and you say, Lena, I want to sign up for my pre-need. I want to go ahead and start this, and I want it to be a 10-year payoff, right? You can start paying. You don't have to pay it all off. A lot of people want to pay the lump sum and get it over with. If that's what you choose to do at the beginning, that's fine. However, if you wait a year or 2 years and you want to do that, I would suggest not to do that, because there is no interest, but they will come back after you for the cost of age. So we all age every year. So they will come after you and add that additionally when you're trying to do the payoff. So just pay your monthly payment is what I'd like to say to families. It's about what you want to pay for. It's about your budget. If you say, I would like a service to have cartwheels over here and a whole, whatever you put together, and it's 25 grand, we got you. There is no down payment once again, but you are going to be based on your age, and it's going to be based on 3, 5, or 10 years, how you want to pay this off. Whatever that individual wants to do, it's up to them. I would suggest no down payments. But if that's how you want to say, Lord, I'm just going to put 5,000 down now, and then I just have 4,000 to pay off, that's up to you.
So, and it would seem to me that if somebody has a pretty big life insurance policy that is built up quite a bit of equity,
right?
And then they want to find out what the cost of the funeral is, right? Couldn't they, in their will, change the beneficiary to X amount of dollars goes to the?
They do. You can do that, but you need to make it. It needs to be well written.
Right. In other words, it needs to be specific to your pre-need plan.
Exactly.
That's where you come in as a consultant on that.
Voice.
Because,
yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes. And so, but
because people might have the money, they just don't know how to designate it toward that.
Right.
So
and that is a conversation between them and their actual, if they have life insurance, the life insurance provider.
No, I get that, but you can say, look, you need to think about rearranging some of this if something happens to pay for this.
If that's what you want to do. And that is a possibility.
Or just buy the plan from you directly. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Gotcha. So they have options. Everybody has options if you get ahead of it. At the time of need, there are no options.
Gotcha.
None whatsoever.
No, I got you.
So the financing, I feel, is very affordable. Example, my mom doesn't trust anyone. My mom trusts no one with her money. And that's where we should have really learned it from at a young age on taking care of money and investing in that type of stuff. If I had started back in my 20s, then I would be in a much more wonderful situation that I'm in. I'm great. I'm doing fine. But sometimes you have to learn on your own. Yeah. So my mom trusted me with her pre-need, and she wanted to put something down. And so I was like, you don't have to do that. You don't need to do that, but just pay this. And she wanted a pretty fancy service because that's my mom. And so we got it down. She paid her first monthly payment. And because she has no illnesses, she has nothing going on with her. There's nothing like that. Then she was able to say, I want to pay this for the first month, right? And then like the next month she calls us, she's like, payment plans are not for me. I'm just going to pay it all off in one lump sum. And I was like, Mom, well, I mean, because they were like, she missed the payment. You got to call her, right? And she was like, no, they just put the numbers in the system wrong. I want to pay this off. I don't want to do monthly payments. And so that was really cool to see that she trusted her daughter to go. I mean, I like myself. I'm pretty trustworthy on everything. If nothing else, I am the most loyal, honest, and trustworthy person. And that's all my friends.
No, not you.
Most of my friends are like, oh, you get on my nerves because
Lena's cool.
You're not gonna lean the other way. This is because I care. I care about my people.
So guess what? A presenter, we just got a chat.
Okay.
From NW at Johnny's group that says, gave the best presentation on why planning for your funeral and situation that come with it is very, very important. So we've got the confirmation of that in the chat.
That's very cool.
Live shout out.
Just
who is that? Is that Noah?
That. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so cool. Yes, yeah. I saw Noah in there too. I was like, because I'd never seen him come out to Fort Worth.
Noah doesn't put his whole name. It just put the NW up on everything.
Awesome. So, that's very, very cool.
He's interviewed on our show too. So
I love that. Yeah.
We're bumping, believe it or not, we've been on 54 minutes.
Oh, we got to hurry up. Let's go, Jordan. Let's go.
So Jordan's going to pop up the next question, and we're gonna limit you, so we don't want to go too much further here.
Okay, that's cool.
But you're good.
Yeah. So, I mean, the next one is, one that I honestly, I think I already know the answer. What makes MLK, what makes you different from other pre-planners? And I'll go ahead and say that the level of care that you take is palpable, right? Like it's personal, it's personable, and there's a level of wanting to give people well-being. I mean, that's what I'm like really gathering from your story, but also, I want to hear from you. What's your secret sauce?
So my secret sauce is I care. Like you couldn't figure that out. I care, and I think the biggest difference is I'm not going into I'm not a car salesman. This is not about selling you a car or the biggest monument that you can find. This is about making sure your life is in check. So when you pass away, no one is worrying about. I love the idea of us all just knowing. It's the saddest thing. But we don't know when we're going to pass, but we know that everything is in check and our children are fine, our spouses are fine. And so I think the difference is I'm not selling you a dream. I'm not trying to sell you the biggest, the best of everything. I want you to tell me what you want, and I want to make sure that we get that delivered.
Yeah. I love that. And if you haven't been around Lena in our group, and had a chance to talk to her, it's the conversation part. You pick up. I remember the first time I met you, I think was over in Burleson. You did the presentation that day at lunch when Yvonne and I visited the group first time, and I haven't ever met you. And immediately when you started talking, I went, there's somebody I can bond with, because you instantly make people feel, and it's a gift, in my opinion, when you make people feel comfortable the minute they meet. You're always smiling. You're talking truth, right? You're just kind of saying, this is how it is. It's just a good trust thing. It's a good trust thing. So so I love it.
I think that's the biggest difference is you say you want something big, I'm going to go get it for you.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
And I leave it all up to you. Here's my notes, here's my spreadsheet. You get to choose. That's the difference.
That's amazing, and especially because you're not talking about a light subject, right? It's a pretty heavy one, but you have a way to make it not so heavy.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good stuff.
So, I think we've really hit on why pre-planning is important.
Yes, most definitely.
What I really want to ask you is, who should consider pre-planning and when should you start?
Yeah, that's a big one. Like I said, I have a presentation, and I'm so happy to be going home to College Station to do this. This is a big deal for me. But they were asking like what age brackets should, come. And I truly think 25 to 80. I mean, that's the biggest group. I would say 25 to 80, we need to get you covered in some sort of way, but however, it's open to everyone. It is open to anyone. I would say 18 and up is when we need to really take care of business. If families want to do it for their kids or for this type of thing, you can. There's just a need to start as soon as you possibly can. And the sooner the better, because the prices keep going up. And so that's one of the things I think I hone in on. I did assisted living yesterday, and I love these women. And my fun is going and doing bingo with them. I call bingo and buy them gifts. It's the most fun. But I had that little 5 minutes at the beginning to say, this is what we're doing. And they're starting to trust me. And so it's going to happen for them what it is. But consider pre-planning now. I think that's the most important.
And Lena, I think the big important part there, just to reiterate this, is it's the age thing.
Yeah.
If you bought at the age you're in right now and you're younger, you're locked in. You don't have to worry about the price increases, right? You're getting the guarantee at that day, that time, that age.
Exactly.
It's just like anything else, life insurance, anything else. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets, because the mortality rates and what insurance companies look at, right?
Right.
So
exactly. Yes.
Cool.
If I'm understanding this correctly, too, I mean, this is you're prepaying for your needs, but it works as a policy, right? So
it is. Yes.
If you
it is. Yeah.
If I'm paying it, it's covered.
Yes.
So
let me tell you that really quick. That's a good point that you just mentioned, Jordan. And this should go fast. But if there are illnesses or have some girls that I was dealing with out in Louisville. They wanted to be buried there whenever things happen. One has something going on with her heart, congestive heart disease. And then the other one is just healthy. So I was able to get her signed up, and the policy immediately goes into effect the first payment she made, because there is nothing happening with her. However, if there is something happening with health on one individual, it does not kick in for 2 years and 1 day. That is what everyone needs to understand.
And that's pretty typical. That's the same on supplemental policies and stuff. Where you wait a year or 2 years, and
and so that's important for people to know, is that it's 2 years and 1 day. Sometimes it's, for other companies it's different, but for me it's 2 years and 1 day, and you're fully covered. However, if something happens before that 2 years and 1 day, we reimburse you your monthly premiums that you've been paying us, and then we meet you at 70% of what your service was supposed to.
So there is some recourse. That's good.
Yes, that's why people are,
because nobody knows what's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I'd like to pray that we get you past that 2 years and a day, but if not, there is something that comes back to help the family.
There you go.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Good answer. Good question, Jordan.
Yes.
And that's something that I can see, because I think maybe, I'm just guessing here, but I would think, like, you think you don't need to do this until you're getting closer and older age. Like when you're like starting to think, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to die now, probably sooner rather than later, which is later down the road. But the closer you are to it, I'm imagining the more expensive your policy is going to be. As you mentioned, maybe you don't have anything right now, but if something pops up, then now you have a 2-year waiting period.
Actually, you have that 2 years and a day waiting period, but the price between a healthy person and a not healthy person, I've seen it for like $4 to $5 is what I've seen. It's not
it's not that big a deal, because they're covered in the 2 year, 1 day deal.
Right.
And they're protected from it. So they don't, they don't have to worry about losing on the 2 year, 1 day.
So that is something people need to know. If you do have heart congestive, whatever it is, whatever you might have, we are not charging anything additionally because of that. So the only thing is that we have to hold for 2 years and 1 day, and then your policy goes into play.
I love it.
Yes. So, yep.
Hey, this was fun.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you have fun today? That's what I want to know.
I did. I mean, I just love.
I can tell.
I just love telling people how to get it together, and then it's up to you. I can't force you, although I'd like to force people into just doing it, get it done, but I can't. And so my ask for individuals and for families is just to, let's have a conversation. Call me, text me, email me. Let's talk, have the conversation, and you can decide what you want to do when you want to do it, but at least you have the education. And that is how I figure I'm helping the public. It's just to have those conversations. It's important.
I'm gonna link up, which I'm showing right here, your website, MLK PreArrangements.com. I'm gonna put that as a link inside the description box on YouTube, which I'll highlight, so people can click straight under the video and go straight to your website, and then they can reach out and call you or email you. But today, I'm just think this is so important, and I'm thinking if I'm back in my 20s and 30s, and if we all were educated on this stuff, we would have made better decisions. The truth is, the younger you get started at anything, the better off it's going to be for you long run, and long run catches up really fast.
Oh, yes.
Just so you know.
Yeah, it does. I'm 51, and I was like, what's been going on, girl?
I'm rolling 70 next month, and I'm thinking, holy smokes, I was 20 yesterday. So
yes. It happens, but it's a blessing to keep living, and at least you're living and you've got your things in check, and that just makes me feel so much better for my children. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Let me leave you with a question, because as we're talking about this, I can see this conversation happening. Well, like the conversation been initiated like 2 different ways, but not to pick on the boomers. I'm totally going to pick on the boomers. But a lot of them are not taking care of their stuff and just leaving it to the kids.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in the kids' place, so, somebody that's around my age, older, you have aging parents, and they have not done this.
Yeah.
Why is your suggestion to bring this up in a polite way so I'm not just like, hey, you're going to die, pay for it, please.
Please don't do that, Jordan. God, no. Just say, Mom and Dad, this has come up. We're all going to pass away. I just want to know what you want. I want to know what you want. And the best way to put that in is to let's get a pre-need, because they'll tell you, you know what I want. I know, I want you to tell me what you want, and I want it in writing so that I don't forget. I don't forget, because you got to know that's a tough time, Jordan. And people forget. People do forget. So that would be the easiest way to break the ice, and just say, Mom, Dad.
So my mom's 90 years old, Lena, and just while I was down here yesterday, I sat across from her in the bedroom, and she said, we need to talk about dying. And we've been through this conversation. I said, okay, great time. Let's talk. She goes, I want to be cremated.
Okay.
I want to donate my space to a family member that's dying of cancer. Right.
Okay.
And I said, that's fine. I said, I don't know how to do that, so we better look into that. But if you know how to do that, then I'll be calling you. I'll be calling you.
Okay.
So we had that discussion, and I said, Mom, Nat, you said that it's just not like I can go in there and say, give that space to somebody else. Okay, we're going to have to. You're going to have to go through this. So I will get with her and then get with you, and we'll schedule time. So this is this is a story that goes with this story. This just happened yesterday. She started finally telling me what she wanted.
Right.
I said, put it in writing, and then we'll start getting these questions answered as quick as possible.
Yeah, especially, do you have brothers and sisters, Herdy?
I have a brother.
Okay. So, you want to get it all done, just in case Mom wants you to do it instead of brother or brother.
Yeah. Well, my brothers can't physically do it either. He's going through some stuff himself.
Yeah. So just as long as Mom puts it in writing.
Next Wednesday, we're going to have a conversation. Okay.
I'm fine with that. That'd be perfect. Jordan. So that's the best way to do it. Just say, Mom, Dad, just give me 5 minutes. This is something that's come up. That's the easiest way to get in there, because they don't want it. They don't want to hear it. My mom, I was like, you're going to talk about it now. She's like, I don't want to hear you. I'm that kid that's like, let's talk about it. So yes.
So how important has this broadcast been today? Number one, you're truly got to stay on and hear the whole thing. I'm excited. Jordan, thank you for being there to ask the questions and bringing in your great thoughts. And Lena, we were on 1 hour and 7 minutes today. Thank you very much. It's great. We are always, Jordan and I always get off this and think, man, it seemed like that conversation was like that. Yeah. So when they're good like this and they're informative, they go quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I just hope this helps someone. So that's what I'm here for. So yes.
So let me do this. We're going to tell everybody we're going to be live on Mansfield Buzz next week, every week, Thursday at 2 p.m. We'll have another local business in the Mansfield surrounding area. Lena was our guest today, and we'll get some information out to her. But we want to thank you guys for listening to the Mansfield Buzz, and we will see you next Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time, and we'll put some posts out this week. And y'all have a great day.
Bye, y'all.